I've been vegan for the last 6 years, and dietary wise I've been plant-based for longer, but combining diet and ethics, this has been me for the last 6 years, and this is what I've learnt.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.
Now, I should probably take you back to my pre-vegan days first, as my background and experiences heavily shaped my decisions today. So as many of you are aware, both my parents died from chronic diseases and my sister in her 30s. So in the aftermath of all of this, I just swallowed what my doctors told me and accepted these deaths were unfortunate events, and essentially it was just luck of the draw. Now, that notion never sat well with me, but I continued with life, eating the wrong foods, drinking too much through university, and pretty much blocking everything out. Then I met my now wife in 2006, and again as a couple we continued to do all of the things that we shouldn't be doing. Not looking after ourselves, eating all of the wrong types of foods, not getting enough sleep, and working all hours of the day believing that the rat race would answer all of life's questions. Both my wife's and my own health were poor, and we were continually getting worse. My wife was diagnosed with PCOS and had some other issues going on, and I was regularly seeing my doctor for things like gout. Now, it was around this time that my wife and I started talking about cleaning up our diets and lifestyles, and at this stage you could probably describe our diets as paleo, and we ate like this for about 12 months or so. But it did absolutely nothing for mine or my wife's health. After this, we started reading a lot more about plant-based diets, and we cut all meat out of our diets. Then one week in 2012 we watched Fork Over Knives and Earthlings, and as the saying goes, vegan because once you know the truth you can't unknow it, and we went from technically plant-based to vegan overnight. Now, I want to focus on what I've learned in the last 6 years or so, but for me there is one last sting in the tail. In 2013 I had a severe reaction to an antibiotic that meant I couldn't work for a year, and then I struggled for many years with eating any types of foods, and it has taken me a long time to recover from this. All of these experiences have shaped me and my wife into the vegans that we are today, and ultimately put me on a path to becoming a nutritionist and soon to be a PhD student. So this is what I've learned over the last 6 years. Number one, in a lot of cases you don't need to live with illnesses or disease. So if you get the processed refined foods and animal products out of your life, and you concentrate on whole foods and good nutrition 90% of the time or more, then more often than not you can reverse disease or significantly improve quality of life. Now, this unfortunately doesn't mean that a vegan diet is a miracle cure for everyone, and anyone who tells you that any diet is a miracle cure is an absolute idiot. I, as a nutritionist, have both vegan and non-vegan patients, and there are unfortunately some people that no matter what they do in terms of diet, they simply can't regain their health. Previous medication, years of poor diets and lifestyles can often cause irreversible damage. Now, fortunately for the majority, they haven't got to that stage and they can regain and reclaim their health. So point number one, you don't need to be ill and chronically sick, but this involves self-reflection in that it's usually your diet and lifestyle that is causing your health problems. Yes, there are genetic conditions, but these tend to be less than 5 to 10% of people. Number two, things aren't always what they seem. So you know you have health problems such as IBS, Crohn's, colitis, joint problems, high blood pressure, etc, etc. So how do you fix these problems? Well, first step, you should always be seeking out the medical advice of your doctor. You want to rule out the most serious of problems and complications. Now, often people have this reassurance and they are simply told they have severe IBS and they will need to manage these symptoms for the rest of their life. Now, I'm not anti-medicine in any way, shape or form, but I understand the limitations and often failures of medical healthcare systems around the world. But I also acknowledge the incredible work these healthcare professionals do. Humans are not perfect, and neither are healthcare systems. But does this mean that you should take your diagnosis at face value and then manage your IBS symptoms for the rest of your life? Absolutely not. So for example, in a large proportion of people, they have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth as the driver for their IBS. And with simple short-term dietary and lifestyle modifications, many of these people can reverse their IBS. So coming back to my point number two, you have to take control of your health destiny rather than outsourcing complete control to someone else, as things aren't always what they seem. So for me, for example, when I was bedbound and in bed for months at a time, reacting to everything I ate, and my doctors were providing me with no real help, I then decided to take control and do something about it. If I had taken my doctor's advice, then more than likely I would still be in bed now, getting worse and worse. So I took a number of medical tests such as the stool test, organic acids test, and also the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth test, and I found out what my problems were, and I will link these tests in the description below. I learned that I had SIBO, I had oxalate issues, I had candida, I had pathogenic bacteria in my gut, and I had other problems, some genetic and some non-genetic. Now this is all very pertinent to the whole ex-vegan carnival drama that is going on in social media at the moment. There are too many people such as Vegetable Police, Tim Sheaf and Bobby's Perspective that claim that the vegan diet destroyed their health, when in reality things are not what they seem. So here is a test for you. Give me one example of an ex-vegan who didn't have digestive or health problems before they went vegan. Give me an ex-vegan who did testing on their gut when they were vegan, showing that they never had any gut issues. Give me an ex-vegan with health problems who is not a conspiracy theorist, flat earther, piss drinker, water faster, or anti-medicine. Give me an ex-vegan with said health problems who has fixed these health problems with eating meat. Give me an ex-vegan who wasn't taking steroids, drugs, medications or supplements of some description before their health failed. All I see is Vegetable Police flip-flopping from raw meat to raw meat because he is reacting to more and more foods. All I see is Frank Tufano with histamine intolerance and other gut problems flip-flopping from one supplement to another supplement and asking his subscribers for new supplements he can try. All the time he is bashing vegans for taking B12. All I see is Tim Sheaf with test results showing his underlying problems, and yet he would rather choose flat earth theory over hard evidence. And before anyone says he is cured, show me the results that the pathogenic bacteria in his gut is gone. All I see is Bobby's Perspective, who openly admits to drug use and multiple supplements every day, but won't even entertain the notion that they have contributed to his own health issues. Now, when my health was at its worst, I was a few days away from going carnivore. My life was a mess, and for an ethical vegan, this is the worst of all situations. But things are not what they always seem. If I had have gone carnivore, I would never have learned of the problems that were driving my health issues. Yes, I would have reduced some of my symptoms, but the pathogenic bacteria in my gut would have still been there and would have got progressively worse. There is this false notion that bacteria will only feed on sugar and carbs. Bacteria and parasites are opportunistic feeders that will feed on whatever comes into your gut. So if you choose to believe that the earth is flat, remember your underlying gut problems will still be there and they will eventually get worse. Number 3, ethics. This is just as important for me as the health implications of whole foods, plant-based vegan diets. And I think these two are finely interlinked. How are you ever going to be an inspirational or effective activist when you have no respect for your own health or well-being? Now that's why these ex-vegans make me laugh so much. For example, if I went carnivore because of my antibiotic use issues, do you think for 1 minute I would be out here slamming the vegan diet or its ethics? Of course I wouldn't. That's why I know Bobby's Perspective and some of these other ex-fake vegans never had or will ever have any ethics. So point 3, over the last 6 years I've learnt for me, ethics is just as important as my health and you shouldn't strive for one without the other. Number 4, I have learnt that social media is the best and worst of places that brings out the best and worst in people, and despite all of this, it's the most effective way and route for changing people's perspectives in the world. Therefore, I would say if you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, then get involved in the community and start making videos. And on this point, if you are a new channel and have just started making videos, or you've been making videos for a while and want a shout out, then reach out to me. The more channels that we have, the greater extent we can drown out the flat earthers. Number 5, I've learned that I will be vegan until the day that I die. Going back to my point that I made earlier, for me, once I learned the truth, I can't unlearn or unknow it. Therefore, I will do absolutely everything I can in my lifetime, however long I'm blessed with living, to call bullshit on the flat earthers and shine a light on these people. I also want to increase my efforts in getting involved in activism, so my channel will always be focused around nutrition, but I also want to eventually include a lot more of the other things that I'm passionate about, such as the environment and also animal rights. So in summary, veganism over the last 6 years has taught me compassion, humility, nutrition, animal rights, environmentalism, and it has ultimately given me hope for the future of humans and also the planet. So that's the end of today's video. Thanks for watching. As always, remember to look after your body because it's the only place you have to live. And I'll see you next time.